Steve Tonelli and Tracy Zer. And if I have this right, they're trying to sort of expose some sort of supposed infighting between you and the county executive. Not you, the freeholders and the county executive. How do you respond to this sort of tactic they've taken on? And, what would you be your tactics going forward in the last 50 or so days before the election?
Look, let's make this real clear. When you have the issues and you have the record that they've had the 8 years before we came into power, I would run on anything else other than that record. Okay, 8% tax increases, 8 years in a row, $170 million new spending, bonding that went through, that we bonded everything in this place, $50 million building that they built with no plan on how we were going to fill it, an equestrian center that they spent $5 million on, it took us 3 years to get someone to finally run it, and when it was built by people who were their friends, afterwards had gaping leaks through all of it that had to have mold remediation after spending $5 million on this building. Yeah, I got to tell you something. I would run away from that too. I would run away from all those things and try to find anything that would catch on with an issue for us, because I wouldn't be proud of where I came from on that either. So bottom line is, I'm running on my record. Promises made, promises kept. I made 3 promises to people of Bergen County. I'd take a 25% pay cut day one when I came in. Myself and John Driscoll were the only 2 freeholders for the last 3 years to take that 25% pay cut. We stated that no taxpayer should have to go in and basically sacrifice for themselves and for their families and their loved ones without us making a sacrifice too. We did that. And I am proud that I took the 25% pay cut. I talked about openness and transparency. Well, since we became the majority, when Kathy came on as the county executive, when I went to the county executive in the first year I was here and talked about openness and transparency, he laughed at me when I asked about putting the budget online. Told me, thanks, but no thanks. Well, the budget's online now for everybody to see how we spend your money and how the people's money is being spent. And we also put in there notes so that you can look at every line item and know exactly what's in that line item of how it's being spent. That was something that I brought with me from R-Mahwah, that we did in R-Mahwah as a council, and believe it was a great idea to show the people here so they have an understanding. We did that and continue to do that for the people. And the third thing I talked about was pay to play. I've already gone into pay to play, but we passed pay to play. We passed pay to play reform. Bob Uden, my chairman, ran on it in 04, in 05, and 06, and believed pay to play was wrong. And the ads are on YouTube. You can find them and you can look at them and go online to see where it says that he would never give out a pay to play contract. He's a chair now, and he's trying to raise money, and so is Stellato, and from the other side, and it's much different when you're on the other side, trying to raise the money, I guess, as opposed to when you're running against it to try to have it stopped. My belief is that regardless of whatever happens with pay to play, no matter what they do, I'm going to live by the rules of pay to play that we passed this year. Whether they try to overturn it, they do overturn it, or whatever, I'm asking my party and the Democratic Party right now to stand by what we put in place as of January to go forward and do it for the whole election cycle for this year. And I know I'm going to live by it, because I believe that's the thing. And so when I look at where we are, I'm not worried about being concerned about where we get along, or someone says we don't get along. In the last 2 years, we've showed a 0 and a 1.8% tax increase to the county residents and to the taxpayers. We've done our job. In the 8 years prior, we're taking, like I said, 8% on average to the taxpayer. $170 million in new spending. We've lowered the spending in those 2 years.
Are you confident in your chances come November?
Look, it's an election. I mean, this is my report card is coming. Okay, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
The voter is going to either tell me that I'm going to pass or fail. I believe that from what I've done and where I stand, I've worked very hard for the people. I believe that there are things out there that, I have. People ask me, say, well, sometimes it seems like there's a lot, a lot that goes on up there, a lot back and forth. There is, because there's a lot of people have heart and independent ideas. We don't walk in here, lockstep like the last, and the last majority did. Where they walked in and they did everything and had everything and everything was decided before they got here. That's not who we are. We have the right to an independent thought, and it should be that way. Just because I'm Republican or someone is a Democrat or an independent, I think Chris Christie said it best. The day that the day he was elected governor and the day I was elected freeholder, all right, I was elected as a Republican. But the day that we were both sworn in, he was sworn in, I was sworn in, he became the governor for the entire state, and I became the freeholder for the entire Bergen County. Independent, Democratic, and Republican alike. Didn't make a difference. At that point, the lettering on the side of your names are gone, and we have to govern them. And that's what I've done. And I believe I've governed for the people, for everyone, not just one party, because I don't believe that's the way it should be. And I'm proud of that. And I believe that I can stand on my record, and I know that no one has worked harder up here than I. We've worked hard together, but I believe that from where I stand, and I bet you that if you ask every other freeholder, they're going to tell you the same thing, that they believe they worked the hardest. But you know what? I've worked diligently to try to do things, working with the homeless, working with our gentlemen and men and women who are coming out of jail, working with the WIB, trying to find them jobs. We've done that. We've set up a program to make that happen, and I'm proud to say that I was part of that. And there's a lot of things that I can stand on the record and walk out of here with my head high.
Freeholder Rob Hermansen of R-Mahwah. It's always a pleasure. Come back and talk to us sometime.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, James.
Stay tuned to Save Jersey for so much more coverage.